Your beat has chords, your beat has melody, but it still sounds empty. That's because you're missing the glue. And in this video, I'll show you how your bass line holds your beat together and makes your beat hit harder. Now in video 1, we talked about chords and progressions and what they are. In video 2, we talked about holding a melody down and also adding a lead. Now we're talking about the foundation, the part that makes people feel your beat, not just hear it. This is bass lines. A bass line is a low frequency foundation of your track. It's typically the lowest melodic element, sitting below your chords and your melody. They think bass is just about being loud and low. Well, let me tell you a secret. It's not. Bass is about rhythm and making sure the feeling of the song is staying intact. Your bass line does 3 jobs. It reinforces your chord progression, it adds groove and rhythm to your beat, and it fills the low end of your track so you have weight and presence. Now let's break down the relationship. Chords define the harmony, what key you're in, and what emotion you're creating. The melody sits on top. That's the catchy part that people remember. Now finally, the bass line sits underneath. It connects both the driving and the groove of the beat. Here's the key rule to making a bass line. It should meet and match the notes of your chords. So with the root notes that I was talking about in video 1, that kind of applies now. So you want to apply those bass notes to make sure that they're meeting those notes in harmony, not within, okay, it's similar to, no, making sure that they're in sync. For example, in the last video what I had pulled up, if the chord progression is C minor, like how we had it, I'm gonna play it really quick. There we go. Now playing the video, playing the chord progression that we had from the last video with the lead on it, we're going to build the bass notes from below. So the key to the bass line is adding the movement between those notes. So first I'm going to add, a bass sound. I love System 8, so I'm going to add a little nice bass sound from System 8. Alright, bet. So I found a bass that I really like. I'm going to be able to put, I want to import it to, check it out. So I went a little bit extra, but I just wanted to show what the notes can be able to do and kind of keeping the bounce in between. So I'm gonna open up the piano roll and show you guys what really is going on within those notes on the bass line. I feel like that's the most important thing here. So when I open this up, obviously in the key of C minor, you got, what we did again, C, D, E flat, F. I'll drag it out. A flat, B flat, and then C flat. So with that, I'm gonna delete that. We have the scale right here. I just want to be able to show you guys again. So what I know, the chords that I played was C minor, then I B flat minor, then I did A flat minor or A flat major, and then to the E flat major. So I kind of implemented what I know about music theory already. Did the root note. So root note for the first note, C. Then I did another root note for the second one, which is B flat. It says S sharp, A sharp on the piano roll here, and then also the third note being the root note. Now with the fourth kind of phrase, I let things go a little differently. I know that it should be E flat, but I wanted to be able to kind of give it a little bit of dissonance, if I may. And the reason being is because I don't want everything to kind of hit on the same notes, and I know that's one of the rules that I did say. One of the things going beyond hitting it on the notes, so if I were to put it on, right, so if I were just to put it on the E flat, this is what it would sound like. So you see how that first phrase is on key and it snaps on the grid and everything like that. All of the notes for the bass, the root notes. Now for the second phrase, I had, changed it up just a little bit, changed up the pattern for the first phrase right here. And then also for the fourth phrase, I changed up the notes completely. So it's not on that E flat. It is just for a little bit though. It's only for half that phrase and then it goes up to its third note. So this is where the key of music theory kind of plays in place. So knowing about that first, that third, that fifth, knowing about the first version, the second version, what the root chord is, things like that, which we'll get into further down the series. But I just wanted to show you guys a little bit what advanced music theory does when you're stacking on the bass, something simple like this. Now open up your DAW. I really want you to try out trying a bass on your own. Now obviously you may not have System 8, but I would try Flex Bass. Flex Bass is a really good, it's a free VST, and it really has a lot of different options for you to pull up a bass and just kind of like mix and mingle. Another great thing is 3X OSC. It's just a basic oscillator, and you can just really start making some nasty saw basses and Reese basses on the low end. Learning about sub frequencies, which I'll also get into with another series. So right now I'm just trying to be able to start from the beginning. And so I'll give you, just the Mobile Tune 808 bass, right? I'll take this System 8 that I just did, and I copy it, and then I'll put it over here in my Flex bass. I'll mute my System 8 so it's not playing, and then I'll obviously route my Flex bass to another track. So even with that, right? It doesn't even sound too bad. It just kind of sounds muddy. So this kind of goes to show you, like, just kind of mess around with the notes, just kind of get creative with it, and then you start to find what a groove feels like, and then what it should also sound like with the notes on the bottom. Now we'll get into how it should feel. Now, good bass lines use 3 types of movement. They use root notes, like I just explained, the foundation of what it is on the chords, like how we briefly explained on the first video with chords and progressions. Now we're going to talk about passing tones. Passing tones are the notes in between that add that melody and interest. And octave jumps. Octave jumps are playing the notes higher or lower for variation. So I kind of explained that in the second video too, but I'll do that with this bass right here. So for example, I'll copy it, duplicate it, move it back to the first, and keyboard shortcut for FL Studio is Control up, and then you can copy it exactly an octave up to where it was. Now how I duplicated it was a simple Control B. Understanding what the keyboard shortcuts are very important, and it gets you a long way in FL Studio or any DAW of your choice that you are using. Me, I'm using FL Studio, so I kind of know these a little bit quicker than I would on Ableton and Logic. So, you don't really hear it as much on the bass, so I don't want to do it there. But let me go on the keys, right? I'm gonna go back on the keys, switch to piano. So I'll take this for example, right? This chord phrase, I'll take it, copy it, put it in the beginning, and I'll put it 2 octaves up so you can really hear the difference. I know it sounds very pitchy, but you hear how it's up there, right? So that's basically what I was trying to show you. It's just basically octave jumping, making like kind of what you have either a chord progression, a melody, a lead, and then taking it, copying it, duplicating it, putting it the octave up, really giving it more of a stereo image. Now we're going to add movement to this, right? So what I mean by movement, obviously, some people can defer that by patterns and how that sounds. I really want to touch on the mixing just a little bit. So when I go back into I'm switching my patterns from the top, by the way, and pattern 3, which I'll name right now, is going to be called bass. So I'll go in here on the side, I'll rename it bass, or I could have clicked on R, right? So I'll click on R. As you can see, the thing that's underlined will show you which keyboard shortcut they are. And I know my OBS doesn't really show that, but when you go in your own FL Studio, that's your keyboard shortcuts are right there in the drop down menu, and also when you hover over notes, it'll show you in the top left corner. That's just a quick little tip for you. So now I have the bass outlined. I want it to be able to add feeling, right? So as you can see on this velocity chain, I have half of the piano roll up here, and then I have the velocity on the bottom. Now, as you can see on the velocity, everything's turned up. Now, and the reason why I want to have it turned up, I want to have it maxed out here so I can put it on the mix bus. And when I go to the mix bus, right, I go to the mix bus. So, the biggest trick about bass is, I know a lot of people have their own kind of ideations about bass. The biggest thing you need to do, put that bad boy in mono. So a lot of these sounds that you make, you can throw in stereo, you can make left and right, you can pan them, things like that, but the bass you don't want to mess with. The bass and kick you want to keep in mono. So what I mean by mono is stereo is left and right, mono is just the center. I mean, you want to keep basses in mono for that reason, so it can just balance in the center of your mix and balance in the center of your beat. So that's exactly what I did here. I turned up the mono on, which would be the right on separation, And stereo separation would be 100% merged would be mono on FL Studio. That's the best you can do. There's no like plugin or anything you can make it exactly mono like Pro Tools. You could route it to be a mono. That's another conversation for another day. But basically make it a mono, and what I usually do with all my sounds is turn things down. You know, you don't want to have everything maxed out when you first start mixing. You want to have things a little quieter. That's when you turn things up and have the opportunity to have a little bit boost. And then a lot of people add compressor. What I would do first off, let me take this off. Explain a little bit. A lot of people add compressor. A lot of people love to add compressor on their bass. But what I love to do beforehand is add saturation. So any type of saturation works. You can find anything that you want to and put your mind to it. So I implore you to go, you know what I'm saying, really go deep dive, find a good saturator that you can use, and kind of let it sing a little bit. Saturate the bass, make it a little more fatter, and then that's when you kind of use the compressor to turn everything up. Obviously that's way too loud, and obviously I'm not going to have things that peaking. And then on the master channel, you always want to have, on FL Studio, we love the soft clipper for this reason. You gotta have the soft clipper to kind of keep the master from clipping, but that's why you want to have the soft clipper on, because you're going to have one or two things at a clip, the kick or the bass. So you always want to kind of have those kind of turned up a little bit, so it has that purpose of clipping the soft clipper. Now I understand this is kind of I can't really hear, I'm going to be completely honest, I can't really hear what's going on with the speakers, but this is how you would usually do a mix on the bass, you know, things like that. Keeping it mono, that's the first important thing. Keeping it mono, and then making sure that you're leveling everything so you can properly hear the bass, soft clipper on the master to have the bass peak. That is the three most important things you could possibly do. If this video helped you understand how bass lines work, leave a like and drop a comment with your biggest bass struggles that you struggled with this past year. And subscribe, because next week we'll cover on the rhythm, the drums, and how it really adds to your progression together to make a beat. If you want professional help taking your music to the next level, send me a message. Let's work. Stay nomadic, you guys. Peace.